Today, I'd like to turn our attention to Genesis. And in Genesis 32, the authors of Scripture tell us the story of Jacob. Jacob, who tricked his brother, who bargained for his wives, who stole a blessing. Jacob, who's about to meet his brother again after many years and is afraid of what's going to come next. Jacob prepares to meet his brother Esau, trying to pave the rocky way with flattery and honorifics and gifts. Jacob sends his servants ahead, piled high with presents, because he's afraid that Esau would kill him on sight. And then, the night before he expects to meet his brother, Jacob sends his wives, his children, and his remaining servants across the river. He remains behind, alone. The scripture tells us that in that cold, lonely, fearful night, Jacob was left alone, and a man wrestled with him until the breaking of the day. Later in the passage, it's made clear that the man that Jacob wrestles with is God. I have just so many questions. Why did Jacob pick a fight? Why did God show up on that riverbank? Did Jacob call on God, shout forth his challenge into the sky? Did God come unannounced, unprompted? Who threw the first punch? Why did God take form to fight with Jacob at all? And why did God match him so closely that Jacob was winning? Because the scripture says when the man saw that he did not prevail against Jacob, he touched his hip socket, and Jacob's hip was put out of joint as he wrestled with him. God, for whatever reason that we could probably spend a whole nother talk on, is nearly bested by Jacob. God pulls the divine card and supernaturally takes the game. But Jacob doesn't let go. Jacob, with his hip wrenched loosed and undoubtedly exhausted not only from fighting all night, but from the fear and the apprehension of the previous days, holds on. Jacob refuses to let God go without a blessing. And here we see the same boy who learned his cunning from his mother Rebekah, who slipped a blessing out from under his father's nose. That same boy is now a man, and he has upped the ante. A blind and ailing human father is one thing, but this is the Almighty. Jacob's problems have gotten bigger, so he reckons so must the blessing be greater in order to survive them. God tells Jacob to let go, and Jacob refuses. Jacob refuses to end this fight without his reward. Jacob demands a blessing from the God that he has wrestled with. And God relents. God asks Jacob to name himself, to name his current identity. And when Jacob gives his name, God says, "Your name shall no longer be called Jacob, but Israel, for you have striven with God and with men, and you have prevailed." Jacob limps away. He meets Esau in the morning, and he's reconciled with his brother. Jacob wrestled with God. Jacob demanded of God. And Jacob walked away with his blessing, a new identity, and a limp. When we fight with God, when we wrestle and demand and snark and refuse to relent, God does not punish. God blesses. God grants us new identities. We do not walk away unscathed. We are forever changed. But along with the scars and the limps, we get new names. The things that used to define us, the cunning, the tricks, the fear, they get a new narrative. Those things that helped us survive, they helped us reach the point where we stand exhausted and panting and sweaty because we will not give up. And God blesses. He spins them into new names, new narratives, new identities. I don't know about you all, but I've done a lot of wrestling with God in 2020. I'm tired. I'm frightened. I'm grieved. And I'm not letting go. I will walk out of 2020 with a limp. But I demand a new name too. One of steadfastness and overcoming, one that repaints survival into triumph. I hope you'll demand the same.